Hi, I'm Steve Pierce, host of the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Pulaski Electric System. Here with Giles County High School Bobcat football head coach David O'Connor. Coach, exciting win Friday night. Lincoln County coming here to the Brickyard.
Absolutely, Steve. You know, our guys came out and played probably as good a game as we've played up to this point, and probably as good a game as we've played here in the Brickyard in several years.
Yeah, you know, Coach, this had to be a special win from you. Your alma mater being Lincoln County, all the folks coming over here. It had to be a little special for you and some members of your staff.
It was really special. It was really good for there's 5 coaches on our staff that went to Lincoln County High School, played football at Lincoln County High School, and it was just a big win all the way around. And it was the first win for the Bobcats, the Giles County High School team, over a Lincoln County High School team since 1957.
Coach, talking about the game, you know, it started off right off the bat. I found it interesting that we won the toss, but yet you deferred.
We always defer. We always like to put defense on the spot first. I feel like our defense is really special this year. We've got a lot of speed on defense. We've got a lot of kids coming back. Coach Bedingfield, Coach Cobb, Big Joe, Coach Hopkins, Coach Jennings. Those guys do a wonderful job over there getting our team prepared every week, and it showed Friday night.
35-0. Let's just start out and talk about that defense. You know, the first series, Lincoln County comes out. We talked earlier last week about their big offensive line and their running game. Very first series sort of set the tempo for the game.
Yes, it did. You know, and anybody was here in the Brickyard Friday night, you know, you can see for yourself how big those guys were. They were huge up front, but Trey Beats, Marcus Ray, Darren May, those guys up front, Will Harrison, we pretty much shut down the run with the front.
I noticed on the stats after the ball game, the majority of the tackles last week against Lincoln County were your down linemen and your linebackers.
Our front 8 did a really good job, and you know, and not only that, Chris Few stepped in front of a big pass. We had a big defensive score. Anytime your defense scores, you know, it makes the whole game a lot better.
Coach, your defense was able to hold Lincoln County for right around 180 yards total offense. Did that surprise you?
Not at all. You know, I know when our defense plays well, and the week of practice we had, Coach Bedingfield and him was playing, you know, I had a good feeling that we could do that if we could really slow down their passing game, and we really shut down their passing game.
Coach, I noticed you was able to get a lot of players into the ball game as the game went on, building up some depth there.
Oh yeah, we did. We got a lot of kids in late. But more importantly, we play a lot of kids all the time anyway. We play, like I said earlier, one side of the ball, and I think that builds your depth, and it adds to just being fresh throughout the game.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about offense. You know, great night passing the football. Al Cobb doing a good job making some good reads.
Al Cobb is a senior. He's been a starter now for 3 years, and you know that's the kind of thing you expect out of Al Cobb. He played the entire game. I saw one bad decision, and that was on his one incompletion for the night. Did some wonderful things running the football. He's just a great leader for our football team.
Yeah, you know, it looked like your timing was real good as far as your practice was showing off as far as players getting on and off the field, right personnel in different situations.
Yeah, you know, we do run a lot of personnel offensively and defensively on and off the field, and even special teams. We've got a lot of plays there, and it's really important for our team to be able to do those type things so that we can get more kids involved in the game.
Yeah, let's talk about your offensive line. I know Coach Kirk has worked real hard with them. You're replacing some players from last year on the offensive line, but as a unit, where are they at and what do they need to work on this week?
Well, we just have to improve consistency. You know, it's not about being good on one play or being good on 2 plays. It's being good consistently throughout the game on all the plays. You know, you can't have 2 good plays and 3 bad plays and expect to win on offense, because on offense you can have 10 players doing their job and 1 guy not, and you still lose 5 yards.
Pass blocking versus run blocking, did you see a difference, or are they right now they're about the same?
Well, for sure against Lincoln County, our pass blocking was better just because they had those big guys up front. They really weren't good pass rushers. You know, they did not get upfield. They were more pluggers on the line of scrimmage.
One thing that I have noticed, your wide receivers and your slot receivers doing a good job blocking downfield.
Yeah, that's something Coach Osteen and the entire receiving corps kind of prides themselves in, is stalk blocking downfield, getting down there and getting over and being physical. You know, even though they're known as wide receivers, they want to be the most physical group on the field.
Tyrell Reed, new wide receiver this year, caught his first touchdown pass Friday night.
Tyrell's he's a big time hands receiver. He's probably got the best hands on our football team. just a junior. You know, we still got to get more consistency out of Tyrell. He's got to show up and play every play, but can make big plays and just has super hands.
Kenton Baker, again, down the middle on the long pass from Al Cobb.
Ken Baker, he's going to make big plays. I talked to Coach Thomas after the game. He says, you know, 15, no matter what we do, we can be on the side yelling, they're going to 15, they're going to 15. He still makes plays no matter what.
Yeah, you know, just an exciting playmaker. Lucas Harrison making some clutch receptions. Again, on the offense, rotating different players in and out, building depth.
That's exactly right. It just gives more kids ownership in the program, and it makes more kids understand the importance of doing well as a team.
Coach, talk about Trevor Holder coming into the ball game for Al Cobb.
Trevor Holder, he's one of our two good sophomore quarterbacks. He's a little ahead of Lucas at this point, just from the flow of the game and understanding managing the offense, keeping us in front of the chains. He's going to be a really special quarterback, and then really Lucas could be a really special quarterback one day. And you know, we're really excited about both those two young men.
Coach, we traveled to Lawrence County this week to take on the Wildcats.
Yes, sir. We're going to defend our western border this week. You know, the cowbell game, nothing else should be said. Our goal is to carry the cowbell over there Friday, bring it back Friday night.
You know, Lawrence County is suffering a 31-0 loss to Columbia Central, but, you know, Columbia Central supposedly having a real good team this year.
Columbia Central does have a real good team. They are always loaded with super talent. They really just out-athleted Lawrence County a little bit. I expect them to be on the top of their game come Friday night.
Yeah, that's a great thing about high school football, coaches. The scores, it doesn't make any difference what happened last week. Every week's a new week.
That's exactly right. You know, Coach Marsh and their staff over there does a superb job of getting their team ready. You know, a couple of years ago, we in our stadium here, we had a big win over Cookeville. We traveled over there the next week. We get a pretty good beating handed to us, and you know that's something we don't want to happen again.
Yeah, you know, the cowbell game been going on for a long time. This rivalry between Lawrenceburg and Pulaski, it's a great rivalry. You know, what can we expect offensively and defensively from Lawrence County?
We can expect a really physical football game. Offensively, they're going to run the wing tee, and they're going to try to bring it right at us. Defensively, they line up in a 4-3, usually a cover 3 type look, and they're really physical up front. Their linebackers play well, and they have a little better secondary, I think, than what Lincoln County showed.
All right, practice this week. So far, one day of practice underneath the belt. What's the attitude of the kids at practice?
The kids, I mean, it's cowbell week, Steve. I mean, there's nothing else needs to be said about that. They're going to be on the top of their game.
Coach, we play in Lawrenceburg, so talk a little bit about the fan support. We had a huge crowd down here for Lincoln County the other night. Tell us what we need to happen.
Well, here's the way it is. There's going to be 11 players for both teams on the field. I felt like against Lincoln County here in the Brickyard the other night, we definitely had the best 12th man, and I think that's what really put us over the edge or over the top for the win. We need that 12th man traveling with us on 64 West into Lawrenceburg this week.
You know, 2 years ago, even though we lost that game at Lawrence County, we actually packed the stands on the visitor side.
Yeah, you know, it's not a lot of seating over there. You better get there early and make sure you get a good seat.
Coach, here we are after the first game of the season. You've got to see the Cats in an actual ball game instead of scrimmage games. How do you see that they've progressed?
I see that the Bobcats are progressing really well. Defensively, I think we've improved every scrimmage right up into the first game. You know, but the key to that is not stopping our improvement now, but improving all the way in through game 15.
Coach, game time, 7 o'clock at Lawrenceburg.
Yes, sir. Be there early, get a good seat. Hey, if you get there late, you're probably going to have to sit on Lawrenceburg side.
We thank you for joining us here on the Coach's Corner. I'm Steve Pierce with Bobcat head coach David O'Connor. Tune in next week.